Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Kim.
Good morning, Achilles.
Kalimera.
Kalimera.
Welcome. Welcome again to the 12th annual Athens Democracy Forum that we do in association with the New York Times. And talking about the New York Times, I still haven't finished reading my special report, but I hope you've had your breakfast and you've been through it because it's kind of set the tone. But Kim and I would like to just take you through the program for today. I think I've done a couple of welcomes so far. So what I wanted to say is that previously our theme was We Dare to Hope. And then when we finished that and we looked in our crystal ball thinking what comes after hope, and then we looked at what was happening this year. This is going a year back. And it was before the escalation of things in the Middle East. So we focused a lot on elections, the fact that half of the world's population has gone to elections and is going, especially next month, to elections. And also we saw that the AI, we felt that the AI argumentation was gaining a lot of momentum, was reaching a meeting point. So we felt that 2024 was going to be very much, and still is very much, a moment of truth. Hence, our theme for this year is a moment of truth, built especially on the mega election year and AI discussions. Yesterday, as you all saw, we had a much more practical approach to this moment of truth, where we looked at a number of projects that the Democracy and Culture Foundation is engaged in, aligned with our mission to help democracy evolve through citizen engagement and better government. And today we turn into a more journalistic sensibility of looking at the issues and the challenges that democracy is facing. And Kim Conniff, our talented editorial director, along with Serge Schmeiman, the guidance from our wise man in New York, or Washington, actually. He's
Washington
based
now.
Yeah. He's a member of the editorial board of the New York Times, have put a great program together. So I'm going to ask you to just take us through the program.
Sure. So I will take you through what to expect today. We have lots of surprises and other things in store for you. So our goal, as Achilles said, is hopefully to look at entrenched problems in a new way, and also to give some fresh ideas for how to confront them. And it's to challenge and also provoke one another, as you may have noticed in some of the talks last night. And I also just wanted to note that you should all feel free to do both of those things, challenge and provoke one another and our speakers, both when they're on stage in the question and answer period, and also when you see them in the coffees, etc. This is a discussion, so please, all of them are pretty approachable, so feel free to do that. So I'm feeling pretty inspired. I just came from a breakfast that was supported by Represent Women. So it's powerful women talking about what needs to change in our political systems, so not just in the US, but everywhere, so that women and other underrepresented groups have a voice. And talking about voice, next we're going to go to Rethinking Citizens and talk about the groundswell of support for citizens' assemblies and whether the citizens' assemblies and other initiatives to get citizens involved in the decision-making process, and whether these initiatives really have an impact on our decision makers. Then we'll move on and hear about the rise of AI and how it's affecting the way we all make decisions. And we're going to put a little twist in there with a bit more of a philosophical and ethical perspective. Then after that, we're going to go to a timely panel on a pretty crucial topic, especially given last night's events, the situation in the Middle East. We've put together a panel of very thoughtful people who are going to look at the future of the region in the long term. So please make sure you're present for that one. Then it's going to be lunchtime, and we'll go back to the issue of AI. But here we're going to talk about how the technology has been used to undermine elections, and also how it can be used to help ensure the integrity of elections. And then it'll be one of my personal favorites as a career journalist, the journalism panel about rethinking journalism. Pamela Policier will moderate that. We'll talk about the future of the media and trust in journalism at a time when no one seems able to agree on the truth. And that will be followed by a conversation with Meredith Whitaker of Signal, who has some really interesting ideas about free speech and free expression. Then throughout the day, we'll have, kind of peppered throughout the day, we'll have these different tools, so to give you kind of bite-sized, very practical applications that you can hopefully take away with you into your own professions, into the field, and also a couple of bright ideas from some young people who are here to inspire us as well. And then after that, we're going to be testing a new format that Achilles is going to tell us about, our afternoon parallel sessions.
Yes, well, picking up on the tools and the bright ideas that you mentioned, I mean, it is very important for us to constantly update the way we present the content. As you know, as we said yesterday, we started 12 years ago at the New York Times, and it was very much a journalistic endeavor. But now that we've turned into a non-profit foundation, and Kim actually has restructured the programming over the last few years by doing 3 main pillars. So we've got the case studies that she talked about, rethinking the main issues of democracy, and then the 3rd pillar is tools. What we want to do this year is put a little bit more emphasis on innovative projects and tools. So at the end of the day, I think about 3:40, we're going to break up in 4 groups of 40 or 50 people, and I think each of you has signed up on a parallel session. If you haven't signed up yet, please see our ladies at the reception, at the registration desk, and please sign up. What we're doing here is we're asking 4 organizations to present a particular project that they feel very strongly about and proud about. I mean, we've worked with them to ensure that that project is all about helping democracy evolve and become more resilient. So there is alignment there, obviously, with the philosophy that we have as a foundation. So the 4 parallel sessions are the first one on Democracy Tracker, supported by Bosch Foundation, Trust in Sustainability, supported by PMI, Elections Integrity, supported by IFES, and Information Integrity, supported by IFPIM.
And the Forum on Information.
That's
Democracy.
right. And then after that, there's Truth in Migration, as we mentioned, the whole issue of migration and the shifts that are happening and the impact that it's having in geopolitics is something in our programmatic pillars. So Solidarity Now is supporting a parallel session. Actually, it's not going to be parallel. It's going to be after the parallel sessions at about 5 o'clock.
5 p.m. So it's a very full day, because then we go on to the Stoa of Achilles, which you don't want to miss if you haven't been there yet. It's a gorgeous setting. We'll be outdoors, but under the cover in this iconic space. And we'll bestow 2 of our 2 awards there, the City of Athens Democracy Award and the Next Gen Prize that we do with the Kofi Annan Foundation that honors a young advocate for democracy. We'll also discuss America's moment of truth, looking at and beyond the hotly contested election, where so much is at stake, including democracy itself, I would argue. And finally, a conversation I've long been anticipating between the brilliant Azim Azar, who's maybe here in the audience. He's arrived. Yes, he's here.
There he is.
And Ginny Badanas of Microsoft. And they're going to talk about the sometimes tense relationship between democracy and technology.
And, you know, none of this would be possible without you being here, without our moderators, Pamela, Jyoti, Roger Cohen, Stephen Erlanger, Farah Nayeri. and all our speakers. It's a wonderful lineup of speakers. And of course, our sponsors. Our headline sponsor, Microsoft, gold sponsor, Google, and then quite a number of other sponsors, Global Challenges Foundation, Libra Philanthropies, Climate Democracy Initiative, Arizona State University, Greek Tourism, the list goes on and on and on. Here they all are. So please give them a round of applause because they've helped us put the special report together and this conference together. And as I mentioned last night, the biggest truth really is that we owe this conference and we owe the future to our teenagers, 45 of them, the young generation. We have Global Liberal Arts Alliance, 23 students. The partnership was sparked by the American College of Greece and David Horner and Mary Kardaras. It is so important for us to have youth in the room to talk about the future. I wish when I was 15, 40-odd years ago, more than 40 years ago, if I and my peers then had gone to conferences like this and contributed and tried to bridge this intergenerational gap. That's what it's all about. Maybe the last 4 decades wouldn't have been as tense as they are. And we now are in a situation where trust and truth are precious, and we need a lot of work to do in order to restore them. So let's talk about all this. Let's come up with solutions, and let's get the ball rolling.
Jyoti will be coming up with her panel. But speaking of the youth, before that, as they're coming up, you're going to see the first of a series of videos from these Global Liberal Arts Alliance students that they've been preparing over the summer. So you'll see some of their thoughts on the topic that we're about to talk about. So Jyoti and panelists, come on up and enjoy the videos while they're coming up here.